Hey everybody, what's going on? We're going to talk about the Dark Nurse today. I feel like the game's been out for long enough now that a lot of people are starting to get her added to their roster. So I figure it's a good time to talk about her because she's really good. I think she's a really cool choice for the free one that everybody can earn, and she's very usable. Very much worth your beans as well. So she is one that you can absolutely justify skilling up. Honestly, every skill. You can fully skill her conscience free. She's getting the cooldown on this is ridiculous. Getting the cooldown on this is very nice. You see it's already on a 3 turn. It gets down to a 2 turn. That is very, very nice. That will really alleviate like not having Fire Surgeon for someone that can do an Oblivion every turn. This will make your life a lot easier having that booked. And then here, the extra healing. I'm sure you've encountered the nurses in some PvP, and you know how annoying that A1 is when they're on counter. So having the extra healing there will be very nice. So she's very much worth your skill ups, and she's very much worth using in quite a bit of content. She's going to do a lot of work for you, especially if you start trying to push tunnel hard. She's very good in there. I used her today, actually, in my Airship Wars. There will be a video for the Airship Wars that we were in today as well. That video is probably already live. If it is, I'll card to it up there if you want to go check it out. But I used her in at least 2 fights today. At least 2 fights. There's one, and there's one. So she's very strong. She's got some very strong pairings. Shout out to Nepilepsy for suggesting the Fire Specialist Dark Nurse combo. It is disgusting, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's go in and talk about her skills, and then kind of your approach to building her, and some things you can do with her, okay? As far as her skills go, she has the standard Nurse A1. She attacks an enemy and recovers HP of the lowest health ally by 15%, a little more if you skill it up. It is very handy, and again, having them on counter sets to proc this every time she gets hit just is that much more aggravating to deal with, right? It's sort of like a passive heal without having the passive heal. On the A2, we have a defense down and Oblivion with turn meter knockback. That's crazy. That's a crazy skill, and again, skilled up on a 2-turn. That is rough. If you've got any kind of turn meter cycling and a speed buff and decent speed on her, you can absolutely lock out bosses even in tunnel. Okay, she is it's very, very nice. So she is the next unit that I have planned to book. My water specialist loved eating them beans. I was trying to get this done, but of course we had to give her some there first. So she's the next unit that will be getting my legendary beans. So very, very, very good there. Oblivion is the answer to a lot of the problems that you're going to face in tunnel. It might be the most important debuff for tunnel in this game. There are so many stages that you're going to get held up on because of passives. So the more Oblivion that you have at your disposal, the easier your life is going to be. And again, if she's booked, she's got it on a 2-turn, along with a defense down, along with a turn meter knockback. Very, very, very handy, okay? And then on the A3, launch 6 missiles to sequentially attack each enemy, reducing their attack bar by 50%. When hitting a target with a debuff effect, extend their skill cooldown by 1 turn, and shorten the skill cooldown of a random ally other than yourself by 1 turn. And it deals damage proportional to the enemy's max HP. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on here. Basically, it's a pseudo AoE. It's going to kind of randomly hit everybody. It's got a significant turn meter knockback. If anybody has a debuff, which they almost always will when you're using this skill, you'll put one of their skills on a cooldown, and you'll shorten the cooldown by one of your units by 1 turn. And then again, also great for tunnel because of the max HP damage. So she can help you nuke down bosses while she also helps you control them and deal with the minions as well. So very, very strong skill. 5-turn, but it's 4-turn when it's booked. So, and then to boot an HP lead for all content. So very, very usable. Every skill is very impactful. She's very good. I think she was an excellent choice. I think they did a really good job putting her in the spot that they put her in so that everybody could get her. You know, sometimes these units can be kind of lackluster, the ones that you can get for free. She is not. She is a pretty premium unit, and she will change things for you. So let's talk about some ways that you can approach building her, because there are a few different routes to go here. I have chosen to go with a bash set, but that is because I've been living in Boxing Club for the last week, and I just have a lot of it. So a lot of my units are ending up in bash, kind of by default. But I think Batch is a fantastic option, honestly, on anyone, especially if you want to use them in PvP. Having a Bash set, a little RNG that enemies can't account for necessarily, is always a good thing to do. So we've got her in Bash. You do want to get a decent amount of speed on her. You do want to focus her HP. We want her to be hard to kill because on top of all the utility she's bringing, she is also one of the supports, right? So she is offering some fairly substantial healing. It's not, it's not as hard hitting as like a tree specialist A3, but for an A1 semi-passive heal, it's pretty substantial, okay? So we do want her to be hard to kill. We do want her to be fast, and we do want her to have accuracy. We want that turn meter knockback landing. We want that defense down on Oblivion landing. We want everything that she does to be landing. If she's not landing all of her effects, we're missing out on a lot of what she's bringing to whatever fight we decide we want to bring her to, okay? Now, on top of that, you can, if you'd like, especially if you want to worry more about tunnel for her than PvP, you can sneak in some crit stats because again, that max HP damage can be pretty substantial and really help you with the bosses. So that is something that you could play around with. I'm not necessarily going to recommend it. I don't have a lot of experience with trying to do damage with her, but the fact that she has max HP on an A3 means there is some big damage potential there. So it's an option, but I don't know which other stats you would want to sacrifice to do it. I would not lose the accuracy. I would want to keep a decent amount of speed. And I would want to keep a decent amount of HP, okay? So we've got, let me move myself here just so you can see. Sometimes people want to see my 2, 4, 6 slots. So for her, I've got a speed on the slot 2, I've got an HP on the slot 4, and I've got an accuracy on the slot 6. And I've got enough HP in my substats that I can get away with that. You could try to go the other route and get a lot of accuracy in your substats and have HP in your 4 and 6. But I've got her tanky enough for comfort with an accuracy slot 6, so that's what I've decided to stick with for her. And again, Bash is a good option. Counter, any amount of counter sets is a good option for any of the nurses, to be honest. This A1, I'm sure we've all encountered it in Guild War or Arena, where you hit a nurse and they counter you and they just keep healing every time you hit. So you have to be really careful about AoE hits. And then if she's the last one left, it's like every time you hit her, she's going to counter and heal herself, so she can't get a heal block up. It's very annoying, right? So counter sets, if you want to use them in PvP, are a great option as well. Alternatively, if you don't have a lot of bash, you could just go broken sets and focus the important stats, which is generally what I would recommend you do. If you start trying to force units into sets for the sake of having them in sets, you're more often than not going to cost yourself some stats. So be very careful about that. But other options, again, are a Swift is, of course, a really good idea. Echo wouldn't be an awful idea either. Get an extra hit on that A3 sometimes, get an extra hit on that A2. Extra hit on the A1 means an extra heal, which is even more annoying, right? If you do load her up with HP, Protect set's not a bad idea. You have a lot of options in here, but from the top row, Swift, Bash, Revenge, I think are probably your best bets if you are able to complete the sets and not sacrifice too many stats, all right? So that's how I would approach building her. And again, what we'll do, we'll just take a look at the, I don't have any more Guild Wars to do today, but we can take a look at the offenses that we did with her today. So here's, where can we start? Let's start, I mean, yeah, we can see a few, honestly. So here, we'll check this one out. We'll just watch this first round. And you can see, right, with the Fire Specialist combo, we open up with her. Again, shout out to Nepo for this suggestion. She comes in with the A3, and then she resets Fire Specialist cooldown, so Fire Specialist gets to A2 again, which is absolutely disgusting, right? That is really, really gross. Then on top of that, she has the Oblivion, so we were able to put Oblivion up on the Light Bear, so that's not a problem for us. So she's really good about like nullifying some of the bigger threats, and Light Bear. If you've ever done an airship war, I'm sure you've had to deal with a Light Bear that's ruined your day. So she's going to alleviate that quite a bit. You can tank her up so that she can tank him a little bit while you're waiting to get the Oblivion up. She's a pretty good answer to that. She's a pretty good answer to that stuff. So another example, we'll just do this. We'll skip this first round. And again, you can kind of see what we're going for here. We open with the A2. She comes in with the A3. You saw all those decreased cooldowns. Now, the way it reads, it doesn't sound like it's that strong, but I actually think it's worth watching that again. Watch this again. Watch how many times it says decreased cooldown on my 2 specialists. See that? It was doing it to both of them, and it did it several times. And it did that because if we go back and look at her skill, the way that it reads, when hitting a target with a debuff, extend their skill cooldown by 1 turn and shorten, right? And it just kind of seems like one of your allies would get 1 reduction on one of their skills, and one of the enemies would get 1 addition of a cooldown to one of their skills. But it's every hit, okay? It's every hit. So it's, especially in Airship War, it's virtually a cooldown reset. Unless you're running someone that's got really long cooldowns, it's virtually a reset for both of your units as long as she comes in behind them. So it is a very strong skill. And again, that's why you could see like why on Echo she would be very nice, because that extra hit is just extra potential for cooldown reduction. So very, very strong. So keep that in mind if you want to use her in PvP. Just think about like, who's your opener? A good way to look at it is who is your opener? How strong of an impact is your opener having? And would your opener getting to open twice like be a big deal? You know what I mean? How impactful would that be? Fire Specialist, if you set your Water Sorcerer up, he can potentially come in and reset twice. If you've got Water Man at Arms, if you're one of those bastards that has Water Man at Arms, he already turns cycles like crazy anyway. She just comes in and makes it that much easier for him. The Specialists are great options. There's really no bad options to team her up with. She's pretty good. I think she kind of fits into a lot of teams. And if you have this Fire Specialist, I think the 2 of them are a great foundation for any third, honestly. So she's really good, man. Really good. As far as Tunnel, I wish it would just save my teams. I'm trying to remember. I think I used her on this. I'm pretty sure this was my team that we beat this with. And she wasn't even in this gear. She was in another build where she was like plus 70 speed, plus 11,000 HP. She's at like 97 accuracy. She was much worse than this. She wasn't in Bash. And we beat this pretty easy, actually. And she had a lot to do with why we were able to beat it so easily. So she will solve a lot of problems for you. And she's really not that hard to build. Some of these units that are really good can be very stat hungry. She's really not. Speed, HP, accuracy. And then if you want to try to sneak some crit stats in on her, that would be great. But even with lower stats than I had, again, when she was in version 1.0 of her build, with a lot less HP, a lot less speed, less accuracy, she was still very impactful everywhere I was using her. So fantastic unit. Congratulations if you got her, or if you're close to getting her. And hopefully this helps you get some gear on her and get her to use. There's also probably a lot more that you can do with her. So if you're using her for different stuff that I didn't talk about in this video, please let me know in the comments. Maybe at some point in the future, we'll do kind of a round 2 of this, and we'll talk about some more stuff she's capable of. Maybe she's going to be really nice for certain dungeons, or, you know, maybe we'll find out more stuff she's going to be really good at later on. But for now, this should get you started with her. So again, hope it was helpful. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.